Hello, and welcome to episode 485 of the official EstablishTheRun.com podcast. My name is Adam Levitan, as always, joined by Evan Silva. Week 10 is indeed behind us. Evan, how's it going?
It's going well. Ready to jump into it.
On today's show, we're going to go team by team through each AFC squad, talking through the injuries, the fallout from them, everything we saw, and what it means going forward. Before we get into it here, a reminder that if you have not tried our in-season package yet, we are a little bit past the midway point, and we have reduced our prices to reflect that. We also have weekly and monthly options available. You can check those out at EstablishTheRun.com on the subscribe page. Also, this podcast is brought to you by our friends at Underdog Fantasy Battle Royales every week. Snake drafts for plenty of money. I believe first place this week is $35K in the Battle Royale. We do have rankings for those that come out every Wednesday night, plus streams from Hersey if you're looking for more insight on strategy. A lot to do with positional scarcity. If you use promo code ETR when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, they will match your first deposit up to $100. That's promo code ETR at UnderdogFantasy.com. All right. Start with the Baltimore Ravens here as they come out of their bye for a really tasty home matchup against the Panthers, who will be starting Baker Mayfield. News on Mark Andrews sounds good. We didn't have a lot of details on Mark Andrews' injury, but it sounds like they expect him to play in this game. I'm still hopeful that with Rashad Bateman out for the year, Isaiah likely will have a role, but we'll see. Evan, any thoughts on the Ravens as they come out of their bye?
I haven't really been thinking about the Ravens very much. I think that what you covered is probably the most notable thing to talk about with them going forward.
Yeah, and Gus Edwards is also, I think, going to make it back. I mean, I think the expectation is that Gus Edwards will be back for this game as well, but we'll know more there on Wednesday on the Ravens injuries.
And because Kenyon Drake has really been playing well for them. I mean, their running game has been doing well recently with him as the lead back. So, I don't know. I'll have a lot more in matchups this week.
Yeah, I actually think that Kenyon Drake has done enough to make this like a full-blown committee with Gus. I mean, Drake deserves it. He's played really well.
Yep.
Buffalo. Josh Allen came into this game with the UCL, the elbow injury in his throwing arm. But, no excuses. Play like a champion. He gave a great press conference. I loved his press conference after the game. They were asking him about his elbow and everything. He was just like, I have to do better. No excuses. I have to do better. I have to play better. Because he had some really bad interceptions, did Josh Allen in this game. At least two of them. Two of them that I saw did not look good. He had the botched snap that would have ended the game as well. Messy game for the Bills as they take a loss to the Vikings. What do you see up in Orchard Park?
And now it is becoming a little bit of a theme with him regarding the interceptions. I don't know if we can really take a ton away from that. Sometimes interceptions are individual plays. I don't know if he's reverting to his 2019 self or anything like that. I'm not going to say that, but he's been throwing a lot of picks lately. I mean, he's got 6 picks in his last 3 games, and he really just hasn't been playing his best football. Now he's dealing with the UCL injury. He's still crushing on the ground. I mean, he's got over 80 rushing yards in back-to-back games. I thought he played pretty darn well in this game, all things considered, and the Bills just kind of flukily didn't win the game in the end.
When you drop back 40, 50 times a game and you're really aggressive, you're going to throw interceptions, it happens. But some of the ones he threw in this game were not as a result of being aggressive. He just missed stuff. And by the way, the Mahomes MVP stuff, which I actually don't have, but keeps looking better and better. Yeah. Josh Allen loses, Jalen Hurts loses, and Mahomes is just carrying this team. We'll get to him here.
That's the thing. I mean, that's an MVP. I mean, we'll talk about it when we get to the Chiefs.
Bengals are coming out of their bye. Also, they will be at the Steelers in Week 11. Update on Jamar Chase's injury. He's not going to play in this game. Target is reportedly not until December 4th. So a long ways off to wait on Jamar Chase. Obviously, going to rely more on T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd going forward here. Any thoughts on the Bengals as they're coming out of their bye?
And Hayden Hurst and Joe Mixon coming off this 5 TD game where he kind of showed everybody that he's not done. That's about all we got on the Bengals.
Browns go down to Miami, down there in Miami. Amari's home road splits, I know we talked about it some. I don't put a lot of stock in it, but it's pretty stark. I mean, Amari has struggled on the road, both in Dallas and as a Brown overall. Saw a nice Donovan Peoples-Jones game here The other leap that we saw was from Harrison Bryant. Harrison Bryant only had 11 routes on 25% dropbacks in week 9. In week 10, Harrison Bryant, 32 routes on 42 dropbacks. Shout out to Mark Dankenbring, who brought this up, that it was a bit of a schematic thing why Harrison Bryant didn't run as many routes in week 9. What'd you see out of the Browns game against the Dolphins?
Kareem Hunt, his usage has been like really unpredictable, I think, at this point from week to week. Kind of attributed the 2-game blip where he had like 6 or 7 touches in a couple of games consecutively to them maybe trying to keep him healthy so they could trade him. Then he had double-digit touches in the next game. Then this game he gets, 7 touches. At this point, he's like a very unreliable flex option. It definitely had something to do with the game script. But, he has not been stepping up for big receiving games in negative game script, and that's hurting him. But, yeah, that's pretty much all I had to offer beyond what you said.
Broncos, I want to get the Jerry Jeudy injury in a second here, but I just want to say for people that are box score watching, it undersells what Greg Dulcich's role is. 71 out of 80 snaps for Greg Dulcich in this game, 31 of those slaughter wide, 40 routes on 49 Russ Wilson dropbacks. I get he only had 1 catch for 11 yards on 4 targets, but man, like Dulcich is going to have some very good games with this kind of usage, and maybe he gets a spike here, Evan, because Jerry Jeudy suffered an ankle injury. We know last year he had an ankle injury as well that kind of torpedoed his entire season. What do you think the fallout is from the Jeudy injury? Anything else on the Broncos?
On the Broncos, in this particular game, and it was unbelievable because the Titans were without Jeffrey Simmons, an all-pro defensive tackle, Bud Dupree, who's probably their best edge rusher at this point. I mean, they're out playing with like mercenary type dudes that like they get off the practice squad of other teams. 18 quarterback hits and 6 sacks against Denver, and now Russ has a tendency to hold on to the ball too long. The Broncos are missing a bunch of offensive linemen. They're without Garrett Bowles. They're starting left tackle and their center, Lloyd Cushenberry. And then they lost 2 other guys during this game. The protection in Denver is like a real big problem right now. But it's still unbelievable to me how Tennessee is able to hold up, missing so many guys. They're also without their top corner, Christian Fulton. But the Broncos offense, I mean, I don't really have anything positive to say. I mean, yeah. There isn't anything positive to say.
I do think without Jeudy, you can give a boost to Sutton. You can give a boost to Dulcich, but it's like they get the ball back down 7, I believe it was, in the end of the game. And like nobody thought that Russ would go down the field. Like nobody has any faith in Russ whatsoever to do it. It just seems like it's over for Russ. And I hate to say it's over on a guy, because I don't want to say that too early, but it just looks really, really bad for Russ right now. Houston, I don't really have much on the Texans, honestly. Like even on a day that Davis Mills throws for 319 yards, Nico Collins and Brandon Cooks are just, meh. I guess that, we say it every week. The only bright spot really is Dameon Pierce. I mean, in the past game, he got 3 more targets. Dameon Pierce now has 23 targets in his last 6 games. He was in some garbage time stuff and some late game stuff there at the end, which is a good sign. But yeah, I mean, I can't. Davis Mills is far worse, and this offense is far worse. And I think even I was too optimistic on it, but I don't even think people who thought they were going to be bad thought they could be this bad. But yeah, anything for you on the Texans?
I'll just say Brevin Jordan was out for this game. So Jordan Akins has like some run after catch ability, like some serious run after catch ability. He only had 3 targets, but if Brevin Jordan misses again, Jordan Akins is like a desperation tight end play who's got some ability.
Yep. Colts, what a weird situation this was, man. So first, they fire Frank Reich, they hire Jeff Saturday, they bring in a play caller who's 30 years old, has never called plays before. Frank Reich was told, you're not starting Matt Ryan anymore. You're starting Sam Ehlinger. Jeff Saturday gets in there, and then out of the blue, because Jeff Saturday said that Sam Ehlinger would start. Then out of the blue, just in nobody knew until warmups, or at least nobody publicly knew until warmups. It's Matt Ryan out there. Matt Ryan's taking the snaps with the starters. Matt Ryan's under center with the first team center. And then it was like, wow, Matt Ryan's starting this game just out of the stone cold blue. And honestly, like, I don't think Matt Ryan's good, but he's a big upgrade on Sam Ehlinger. And then you get Jonathan Taylor off the injury report when Naheem Hines is gone and Deion Jackson hurt. JT plays 60 out of 64 snaps, 25 routes on 30 dropbacks. That is the kind of usage that JT may actually be worth like a top 2 pick on. I mean, seriously. So there's a lot going on here. Do you think Matt Ryan sustains the starter? I don't see how he doesn't now. And what is your outlook on the Colts stuff going forward?
They never should have been starting Sam Ehlinger in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not an NFL quarterback, and that was Jim Irsay's idea. Now, Jim Irsay's idea to hire Jeff Saturday, I know everybody's like, oh, it's the redemption tour. We'll see how it goes, okay? But there's no question that, again, and we talked about it on Sunday, Jeff Saturday is like a former player. He understands, like, dude, players get pissed when you trot out a quarterback that, like, can't function, like Sam Ehlinger. And also I think the new play caller actually did pretty darn well. I mean, the Raiders have been very underwhelming, especially Chandler Jones from a pass rush standpoint, but they do have Max Crosby. Matt Ryan took 1 sack and 29 dropbacks, was only hit 1 time in this game, and that's been a problem for them all season. But again, Saturday being a former player, he understands what it's like in the locker room. I think it was a no-brainer to go back to Matt Ryan. I mean, they can be competitive on a weekly basis going forward, and it's very good news for Pittman and all the other dudes. And Paris Campbell, by the way, widely written off. I mean, he's playing really good football right now. And what they did that stood out to me, I think, was that from a play calling standpoint, was that they attacked the Raiders linebackers in coverage, and they did a lot of that with Paris Campbell. And Paris Campbell's like starting to string together good games.
Yeah, so I was going to bring up Paris Campbell as well. So Paris Campbell and Matt Ryan have something going on. In Ryan's 2 games before he got hurt/benched or whatever it was, Paris Campbell had 12 and 11 targets. He didn't do much with Ehlinger. Then Ryan gets back in this past week, and Paris Campbell gets 9 targets. I mean, I think Paris Campbell, and was one of the people that was like, this dude can't play. He's got to get off the field, get Doolin in there. He's played well. And him and Matt Ryan clearly have something going on. And if he's available, I would certainly add him. That said, somewhat difficult schedule for the Colts coming up. Eagles, Steelers, Cowboys, Vikings, next 4 games for the Colts. Jacksonville. I mean, the ETN role was awesome yet again. It's just, I expressed concern on Friday and on Sunday. Like, I just thought ETN was a cut below some of those other running backs this week, because when you go to Arrowhead, weird things can happen. It's just tough to go to Arrowhead when the offense is putting so much pressure on you. But I'm not worried about Travis Etienne going forward at all. I will note, I thought Evan Ingram had a reasonable game. Would have looked better if he didn't get a touchdown called back on kind of a weak call. But what do you see out of the Jaguars who went to KC and got beat?
Yeah, check in on the great Zay Jones. 8 catches for 68 on 10 targets. I mean, he got there in PPR. He wound up being a pretty good play. So I will bend the knee and capitulate. Decent game for Zay Jones.
Yeah, I actually had Zay Jones under 4.5 catches in props, and
oh no,
yeah, not good. Speaking of the Chiefs, I don't want to say they're done with CEH, because this has been something where they've been rotating guys and doing weird things and whatever. But it looks to me like they're almost ready to throw in the towel on CEH, former first-round pick, of course, famously drafted ahead of Jonathan Taylor. CEH played just 4 snaps in this game against the Jaguars. Isaiah Pacheco, 35. Jerick McKinnon, 24. Curious your thoughts there, Evan, and then I do want to get to some wide receiver stuff here in a second.
Yeah, we talked about this idea last on the NFC show, but I wanted to bring it up again because Isaiah Pacheco is a really good example of don't think about the downside with your pickups right now. Think about the upside. Because Isaiah Pacheco, I feel like they want him to run with this. I think that they want him to run away with this early down job. Let's see. Did he have much passing game participation here? He did not. Yeah, he had none. But they've given him quite a bit of scoring position work, and I think that they think he's their best runner right now. And I think he's their best runner right now. Mm-hmm. And then they use McKinnon in the passing game, and then CEH is just like, I mean, he's not very good, man. I mean, like we've been saying this, and he's just not very good.
Yeah. The thing is, a lot of times a running back, it doesn't matter if you're not that good. Like, like you can still put up numbers, but once the coach benches you, like then it's over, So yeah, that's why it's important to understand who's good and who's not. I do think that if CH had like the same role, if he had an every down role, he'd be doing very well in fantasy as the Chiefs every down running back, but he doesn't. So 4 snaps is what it is. Wide receiver stuff. So Mecole Hardman was out for this game with an abdomen injury. I'm not sure if he'll be back. Juju got just lit up on like a hospital ball from Mahomes and was really scary injury. I doubt Juju will be back this week. So here were the routes on 40 Mahomes dropbacks in this game against Jacksonville. MVS 34, Justin Watson 29, Kadarius Toney 17.
Hey, Kadarius Toney looked like Batman out there, by the way.
Juju 16 before he got hurt, and Sky Moore 10. Kadarius Toney had 5 targets and 2 carries on just 28 snaps. I'd love to see him get in front of Justin Watson here, but still, they're clearly scheming him the ball when he's out there. Again, 7 touches on 28 snaps, obviously really, really good. His role can only grow from here. And like, I have Kadarius Toney on like all my best ball teams as part of Danny Dime stacks. I didn't think it would go like this, but now I'm actually excited because Kadarius Toney for the Chiefs, his role is just going to keep growing. So I'm excited about it. Any thoughts on that for the Chiefs? Yeah,
90 total yards and a touchdown in this. And he had they got him 7 touches in his first game. And I think he was 39% of the snaps, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh my goodness, man. And he looked incredible out there. That's very exciting. Yeah. We kind of delved into the MVP discussion earlier. Patrick Mahomes has been carrying this team.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's got to be the favorite for MVP right now.
Oh, he's certainly the favorite. I mean, Allen and Hurts, I still think have a very good chance. Mahomes is going to Mahomes going to need to lose some games. Right now, Mahomes is plus 125. Tua is actually the second favorite at plus 350. Hurts at 5-1. Josh Allen 6-1. So, yeah, I still think Allen and Hurts have a chance, but those are kind of short prices. They'll need to rip off a ton more wins and have Mahomes lose. Yeah.
So one thing we'll definitely have to discuss, if Mecole Hardman comes back, what are we going to do with Toney? But assumption of rational coaching, Toney looks unbelievable, dude.
Well, and I do think there's going to be more room in this week upcoming, week 11, because I don't think Juju is going to get cleared in time to play in this, so there'll be more room there. Let's go to Las Vegas. I mean, I didn't think the Raiders would be very good. I thought they'd be the worst team in the AFC West. I did not think by any stretch they would be this bad. They're now 2-7 after a home loss to the Colts. I don't know, man. The good news is that they do have very good fantasy players. I mean, Josh Jacobs is an excellent fantasy player. 21 out of 23 running back carries, 8 targets for 21% share. And then Devontae Adams, just an obvious smash off the squeaky wheel. He gets 37% of the targets and goes nuts here.
And Foster Moreau
played a good game. Did have a touchdown, another touchdown drop out of his hands at the end there, which actually would have won the game for the Raiders. But yeah, with Waller and Renfro out, I know some people are optimistic on Mac Hollins. He's just not a very good NFL wide receiver. Right. I mean, 6 targets, 2-18-0. But Jacobs and Adams, man, I mean, while Waller and Renfro are out, these guys are going to go nuts. What'd you see out of the Raiders?
I mean, I think you summed it up, Adam. I think you hit everything there. We can move to the next one.
Next one is the Chargers. So this was a Sunday night game. Offense is just hard when you don't have your offensive line. They've had so many injuries. You don't have Big Mike. You don't have Keenan. Gerald Everett left with a groin injury, and you're on the road in San Francisco. So kind of a predictable bad spot for Chargers offense. Justin Herbert just 196 yards and a touchdown in this game. Good news is I think Keenan Allen's going to practice this week, I saw. Hopefully he's back to 100%. We'll see there. Anything for you on the Chargers loss in San Francisco?
Austin Eckler he had like 6 touchdowns, or he had like 12 touchdowns over his last 5 or something like that. Yeah. Touchdown regression kind of hits him. DeAndre Carter is locked into a pretty major role week to week. Josh Palmer did have 8 targets, not the production that you're looking for, but 8 targets. I think Isaiah Spiller is now the Chargers' number 2 running back. If you want a decent running back stash for the second half of the season, I think it's Isaiah Spiller now.
Yep. Dolphins. I was wrong on this. I thought that it'd be pretty even again between Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert. I was wrong. Jeff Wilson, 42 snaps. Raheem Mostert, 19. Jeff Wilson, 17 routes. Raheem Mostert, 9. Jeff Wilson, 22 opportunities. Raheem Mostert, 12. So Jeff Wilson comes in and is just like the lead back right away. Other than that, in Miami, it's been so predictable. I mean, Tua's going to throw. He's going to be efficient. He's throwing in a really good scheme to 2 of the best wide receivers in the NFL. So is what it is. Any thoughts for you on the Jeff Wilson stuff? Anything else on Miami?
Yeah, they did spread it around a little bit more than usual in this game, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, they're getting, Trent Sherfield involved and Alec Ingold. That is kind of where Tua's MVP case comes in. Is he's kind of elevating guys. Obviously, Tyreek and Jalen Waddle are elevating him, but I mean, some of these ancillary pieces have stepped up in certain spots. Tua is just, I mean, you look at like almost any metric, any quarterback metric, and he's top 3, and he's at number 1 in a ton of them. Like the advanced stats and analytics. I mean, he's balling right now. He doesn't have the greatest physical skill set, but like his ball handling is like very. We think of ball handling as a term like for basketball. Quarterback ball handling is like something that they put a lot of emphasis on, and the way that he handles the ball, like he's not making mistakes. You know, he's putting the ball on the guy's hands to where they can make run after catch. I mean, he's doing everything right, and this offense, I don't see any reason to believe that it's going to take a step back. You know, barring injuries.
Go to the Patriots. They're coming out of their bye for a home game against the Jets. They had some injuries going into the bye. Devontae Parker among them, but you know, I don't have a lot of faith in this offense whatsoever outside of Ramondre Stevenson. Mac Jones has just been, I mean, quite frankly, bad this year, and I'm not sure that that's going to turn around. Any thoughts on the Patriots as they come out of their bye?
No, I just wonder if they might go back to Bailey Zappi at some point. You're right. The passing game is guys will pop up at certain points. It's going to be really hard. You know, you're playing whack-a-mole with that. I think it's going to be difficult
for sure. Jets are also coming out of their bye, and they will play at New England. As I just mentioned, Jets are coming off one of the biggest wins in franchise history, or at least in recent franchise memory, by beating the Bills in their game before the bye. Any thoughts on the Jets as they get set to play the Patriots here?
Not a ton. I presume that Corey Davis will be back.
Hopefully, yeah.
They were talking about putting Elijah Moore in the slot more. You know, we'll see about that. Does that mean that he's going to become a regular part of the rotation? I don't know. Are they just going to have him practice at slot receiver in practice? Like, I don't know. You know, like that's where we're at with Elijah Moore right now. I think that Michael Carter should be a pretty decent RB2 the rest of the way.
Yeah. And James Robinson's role, I think, will continue to be a thorn in the side of Michael Carter, but I'd certainly rather have Carter than James Robinson. Pittsburgh, you know, there were a lot of rumors leading up to this game that Najee was getting his role stripped, that this was it for Najee. And it didn't get stripped, but Jaylen Warren certainly played a ton. Najee, 50 snaps. And by the way, the Steelers ran freaking 79 plays in this game or something crazy. Najee, 50 snaps, Jaylen Warren, 36. Najee, 25 routes, Jaylen Warren, 14. Najee, 21 opportunities, Warren, 12. I think Najee also got nicked up in this game and missed the series for what it's worth. But yeah, I mean, Steelers used first-round pick on Najee. Everybody said they made a mistake. It's not hindsight. Everybody said they made a mistake, and now they are capitulating to the fact they made a mistake. Any more thoughts on the Steelers?
Yeah, Najee Harris, through his first 2 seasons, has shown a distinct inability to hit long runs.
Yeah.
His longest run in a game to this point was 18 yards this season. Last year, he had 4 runs over 20 yards out of 307 carries. He did hit a big one in this game, so shout out to him for a 36-yarder. But yeah, he came out of the game with, I think, something having to do with his knee.
Yeah.
And so that will be a situation to monitor. Who are the Steelers playing this week?
I actually don't have it here.
Okay, well, either way, Jaylen Warren should be rostered everywhere. He already should have been rostered everywhere. You know, the outside chance that he could get a start here.
Yeah, I think he's almost certainly owned in any competitive league at this point. They play home against the Bengals, the Steelers in week 11. Last one we're going to do here today is the Tennessee Titans. I thought it was a good sign for Treylon Burks. He was out 6 weeks, which is a long time to be out. He immediately comes back and runs 29 routes on 38 Ryan Tannehill dropbacks, 6 targets for a 16.6% share. For Treylon Burks, you know, pretty solid, but as we know, this pass game is going to be low volume and at times low efficiency also. So I'm not like falling all over myself to get Treylon Burks into my lineup, but he's at least worth noting that he bags back and has a good role. Anything else for you on the Titans?
No, the Broncos did a really good job against Derrick Henry in this game. And then I just Okonkwo is a guy that I would want to be rostering anywhere I possibly could in Dynasty, because I think that he's the Titans tight end of the future. I mean, just this dude flashes big time.
Super athletic dude. Chig is for sure. All right. That is going to do it for the AFC team by team podcast. Appreciate you all being here for sure. If you have not checked out Establish the Run, head to establishthерun.com. Again, we do have weekly and monthly options available if you want to take a little test drive. For Evan, for producer Luke, I am Adam. Good luck, everybody.